how did Europe's biggest used car markets perform in the first half of 2025? What can be expected from Ford in 2027? And which Volkswagen models will not be subjected to price increases? This is the Automotive Update, presented by Autovista24. I'm Tom Geggus, editor of Autovista24, here with the latest edition of the Automotive Update. I'm going to take you through the last 7 days of headlines from Autovista24 and the wider automotive industry. The latest data from Europe's used car markets is in. To discuss the trends with me is Autovista24 special content editor Phil Curry.
Hi Tom, as always, good to be here.
Now Phil, the automotive bodies of France, Germany, Italy, Spain and the UK have all published their used car market data from the second quarter, which you wrote up in a big piece for Autovista24 this week. On reading it, the impression I got was that there was actually little consistency between the markets.
That's correct. There really is a disunity there as a general trend. For example, in the used car market, 2 markets have remained stable with marginal declines, 2 have grown, and 1 has declined. And it's a very mixed bag across each of the big 5.
And how did used car transactions compare with new car registrations, Phil?
Well, for the new car market, we've seen 3 countries with declines. 1 has been fairly stable, and 1 is really flying as well. And these are all different in terms of the new car and the used car figures. So, as I said, it's really a mixed bag, and there's not really a big trend emerging at the moment in correlation between new and used cars.
I think we've been fairly cloak and dagger so far, Phil, not saying which market is which, but I think it's time we do finally get into that. Italy and the UK, let's start with them. Why do you think these markets saw transaction increases across the first half of the year?
Well, the UK market is becoming increasingly diverse, and unlike the new car market, is seeing growth in petrol transactions. That's according to the latest data from the SMMT. At the same time, demand for diesel, which is declining in the used car market, is still there. Now, this suggests that while car makers are pushing for increasing hybrid and electric vehicle registrations, perhaps reducing the number of internal combustion engine offerings available, buyers still want the technology and are looking to the used car market to get it. It is worth noting that there are more than 36 million cars on UK roads at present, with 90.3% of these fueled by petrol or diesel, according to the SMMT. So the availability of internal combustion engines is much higher. That being said, full hybrids, plug-in hybrids or PHEVs, and battery electric vehicles or BEVs did erode into the internal combustion engine market share, making up just under 10% of total transactions in the first half of the year.
So that's the UK, Phil. What about Italy?
Well, an industry body, Anfia, does not provide a detailed breakdown of powertrain figures in Italy's used car market. But while the new car sector has struggled this year, there is clearly demand from drivers for a newer or different vehicle. Italy's registrations saw a big jump in 2023 and remained fairly stable last year. This has likely aided supply into the used car market, which is benefiting this year's results.
So those were some of the positive outcomes from the first half, Phil. Take us through a more stagnant market. What happened in Germany?
Again, Germany's industry body, the KBA, doesn't provide a detailed breakdown of used car figures in terms of powertrains, so it can be a bit difficult to judge exactly what momentum is going on in that market. But the country did struggle last year in terms of new car registrations and is having similar issues this year with a bit of a rollercoaster ride. This may have affected supply, which in turn has affected transactions. However, the used car market has managed to remain extremely close to its 2024 numbers in the first half of this year.
France was also pretty stable. Did this come as a bit of a surprise?
Well, what we've seen over the last few years is that if France's new car market performs poorly, its used car market jumps, and vice versa. This year, however, things are a little different. France has the worst performing new car market of Europe's Big 5 so far this year. So for its used car market to remain stable, with a small 0.3% decline according to AAA data, was a trend we've not experienced recently, both markets suffering a drop. This suggests that there are some problems in the country's automotive market. Now, hybrids are the best performing powertrain in terms of growth, while PHEVs and BEVs saw improvement as well. Diesel remains the most popular fuel type in terms of used cars, however, even if volumes did drop. Internal combustion engine cars made up 83.6% of the market, so again, there's some way to go before the used car market achieves balanced electrification rate.
But do we think that this is going to be an ongoing issue, Phil, or could there be change coming to the French market?
The French Parliament has voted to abolish low emission zones, which could help sales of Crit Air Free level vehicles and above. These are the most polluting models in the market by rank. If these are allowed back into city centres, there's no restriction on buying them for drivers. But those plans still need to be approved, and we will not know the full impact until, or indeed if, they are.
Talking about relationships between new car market and used car markets, one market we definitely can't ignore is Spain, because that country saw the biggest drop in used car transactions in the first half of 2025, but also the greatest growth in terms of new car registration. So what on earth is going on there, Phil?
Spain's new car market has flown so far this year, and it has been helped by government intervention, including aid for the Valencia region in terms of vehicle replacement after the heavy storms in the area in 2024, and its Moves Free incentive scheme, which has launched BEV uptake. This has affected used car sales. For a start, the Valencia aid is replacing vehicles that cannot enter the used car market due to damage, so there is maybe a supply issue there. It also suggests that without aid, Spain's new car market may be performing less well. According to GANVAM, sales of passenger cars up to 5 years old improved by 7% in the first half of this year, but it was models over 15 years of age that made up the majority, over 41% of the used car market in the country. That's not going to help the country's average car park age. Diesel was the most popular powertrain choice, with over half of transactions. This remains stable year on year, again suggesting that a decline in the new car market in terms of diesel is due to car makers not offering as many models. This may also be why the number of much older vehicles made up the majority of the market, with more drivers wanting a diesel vehicle in Spain.
Now, of course, we are just giving you a brief glimpse into what happened in the first half across these big 5 European used car markets. To get all of the data, analysis and insights, head to Autovista 24, where I'll leave a link to Phil's article. To get all of our news right to your inbox, sign up for our email. Just head to our homepage where you'll find a sign-up form. Check out Autovista 24's YouTube channel as well. There you'll find our What Is Explainer videos, Launchport series and webinar recordings. And of course, subscribe to the Autovista 24 podcast wherever you listen to us. This week, Ford announced its new family of affordable electric vehicles will hit the road in 2027. These models will sit on Ford's new Universal EV platform, which it claims reduces parts by 20% compared with a typical vehicle. The first EV in this lineup will be a mid-sized 4-door electric pickup with a targeted starting price of about $30,000, equivalent to roughly €25,600. The pickup will be built at Ford's Louisville assembly plant for US and export markets, and the carmaker is investing nearly $2 billion in the site. Volkswagen Passenger Cars is set to increase the cost of some of its vehicles later this month. This was first reported by German publication Automotive after it saw a letter from the carmaker to its dealers. On the 21st of August, a number of the brand's internal combustion engine-powered vehicles from the 2026 model year will see prices rise by 1.5% on average. But not all models will see price increases. All of the carmaker's electric models from the ID3 to the ID7 look to be exempt, alongside the T-Roc. A big thank you to Autovista 24 special content editor Phil Curry for appearing in this episode, and to Autovista 24 web editor James Roberts for co-producing. Additional thanks go to Autovista 24 journalist Tom Hooker. The music was Better Find a Solution Fast by Richard Ames. Thank you for listening to the AutoVista 24 podcast.